So Israel is moving into Syria, but instead of repeating the headlines, let me walk you through the context of the Israel-Syria history so you can better understand what's happening now. It starts in 1948 when Israel declared independence. The UN had just passed a resolution dividing the region of Palestine into two states, one Jewish and one Arab. Syria, along with other Arab nations, rejected it and launched a war against Israel the very next day. Israel won the war and expanded its territory. Syria, though, failed to achieve any of its goals, and since then it's been one of the loudest critics of Israel. Fast forward to 1967 and what we now know as the Six-Day War. It started between Israel and Egypt, but Syria joined the war on day one because it had a military pact with Egypt. 6 days later, Israel captured some of the Syrian territory called the Golan Heights. Now, the Golan Heights are crucial to the story. It's about 1,000 meters above water, giving a perfect view of both northern Israel and southern Syria. It's a natural defensive position for the military and a really valuable territory. Israel wants to hold on to it, saying that it prevents potential attacks from Syria. Syria wants it back because it used to be their territory, and they point to the United Nations Resolution 497, which calls Israel annexation illegal. Most countries actually agree that it's still part of Syria, including the European Union and the UK. However, the United States is the only country that recognized Israel's control in 2019 under the Trump administration. And Syria tried getting the territory back. In 1973, Syria and Egypt launched a surprise attack on Israel during the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. Syria didn't succeed, and a year later, both sides signed a deal, making the Golan Heights a demilitarized zone. So no Israeli or Syrian military was allowed there. And this point is very, very important, so please remember it because I'll come back to it. In the 1990s, there were negotiations and attempts at resolving the conflict, but the main sticking point was the Golan Heights. The countries couldn't agree on who should control it. Then, in 2011, a civil war started in Syria, which culminated a couple of days ago on December 8, 2024, when the oppressive Bashar al-Assad government collapsed. It's not clear what's going to happen in Syria at this point, but Syria still has weapons, including chemical weapons. They also have other military assets, and Israel is concerned that those assets could fall into the hands of extremist groups and put Israel's security at risk. So Israel decided to destroy those military assets. They carried out more than 350 strikes and struck Syrian naval bases. Other Arab nations and Turkey criticized Israel for further destabilizing the region. Israeli forces also went beyond the Golan Heights, further into Syria, and seized abandoned Syrian army positions. Israel claims that they want to establish a defensive area free of weapons and terror. However, if you remember, in 1974, both countries agreed that the Golan Heights area would be demilitarized. The United Nations says that Israel has now violated the agreement. Israel's position is that the agreement is now void and no longer applicable because the Syrian government collapsed. But that position is debatable.